My name is Gianni Russo, a.k.a. Carlo, the infamous son-in-law from The Godfather. I'm now known as the Hollywood Godfather, and this is my story.
Before all of the wins in my portfolio, I was a little boy diagnosed with polio. Experimenting with cures, I tried every one. Felt everything in my right, but my left was numb. Walking with a limp, like will I ever run? Once again, or is this it? Am I forever done? Living in the hospital was never fun. Some people were cool, but not everyone. You never know who you're lying in a room with. So I broke a broomstick in half and let it groove with the concrete in the bathroom floor. It had a new tip, stashed it behind the toilet in case I ever had to use it. Cause one day Dolores had a chat with me. Said she got word someone was coming after me. My heart started beating rapidly.
Speak softly loud and hold me warm against your heart. I hear your words, the tender trembling.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Hollywood Godfather podcast. And as usual, my compadre, co-writer and friend, Pat Picciarelli is co-hosting with me. And today, I'm excited because finally we have this lady that I've been trying to get on. I've known her socially. We've been out with mutual friends and watch her constantly on television. She's very outspoken, and thank God she has said she'd do the show with us today. And I'll have Pat introduce you.
There's more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's more. No, it's my
Okay.
Today we have with us Judge Jeanine Pirro. She's correspondent for Fox. She has a great resume, which I like to quote, but we only have 45 minutes. So we're going to have to just welcome her because we want to welcome her. And by the way, Judge, Joe Acapinti, who we had on the show last week,
Yes.
says hello.
I haven't heard Joe's name in a long time. He's a great guy. If you see him again, give him my regards.
He's done 2
very
episodes
fond
for us.
memories
That's how much he
working
had
with
to
him.
say. He's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yeah, we
Great
did 2
guy.
episodes with him. I helped him out when he was having his problems. I'm a retired NYPD lieutenant.
I could tell.
I helped him out when he was having his problems, but I haven't seen him in a while. That man is the definition of a survivor.
Mm-hmm. I know what you
Okay.
mean.
That said, nice to have you here. There's a couple of issues. We have, it isn't very often that we have an expert on. Usually Gianni and I just ramble. So we'd like
For
to get
3
some.
years we've been doing this.
Yeah, we'd like to get some expert opinions on some current topics. This Highland Park, Illinois thing, every day is evolving. I don't know if you heard today, Judge, but the shooter admitted to having a second location. He has 60 rounds left after he escaped from the initial shooting. And he has 60 rounds left, and he was going to expend them on another crowd of civilians.
Mm-hmm.
But he changed his mind.
Mm. Well,
Thank God for that.
First of all, let me say that I'm thrilled to be with you guys, and Johnny, I know from social events that we've been at with many mutual friends that I think very highly of. So, and anyone who's a cop is a friend of mine. So, Pat, just consider you part of the gang now. Here's my background. I've been a prosecutor, a judge, and a DA for over 3 decades. I ran for office 5 times. I have my pound of flesh that I gave in public, and I fought for the underdog. I fought for strong laws. I fought to make sure that criminals were accountable and responsible. And suddenly we find ourselves in an America where just the words law and order are offensive to people. And I first remember that happening when Donald Trump mentioned it in 2016. He said law and order, and people were offended by it. And that's when I realized there was something going on in this country. But let me just fast forward to Highland Park. This little dirtbag, whose name doesn't deserve to be repeated, had all of the all of the identification marks that we look for in terms of these mass shooters. And I love police. I love cops. When I was a DA, I had 50 of them who worked in the DA's office for me. And I mean, I worked with FBI, state, local, all of them. I have tremendous respect for them. But when this guy, yesterday, this guy, Semino, comes out, and he's a deputy sheriff, I think. He comes out and he says, well, you know, there was no basis for us to do anything because of the red flag, with the red flag laws. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute.
Well, that's the purpose.
Yeah, that is the purpose. In 2019, this little dirtbag said he wanted to kill everyone in his family. All right. He was known to have attempted suicide. So they find out when the parents call police, and all of the indicators are there. The neighbors say police cars were there frequently. So we've got police responses frequently within the last couple of years. And when he threatened to kill everyone in his family, they go in, they take out 16 knives, 1 sword, 1 dagger, and they leave. Do they take this kid for any kind of analysis or evaluation? Do they even bother to look at social media? What do? They do nothing. And in the end, they go back and now they look at it and they say, holy shit, what we did was we ignored all the telltale signs. And they say, well, there was nothing we could have done. No one was willing to sign a complaint. That's nonsense. And I'll tell you why. The police had probable cause. As far as they knew, he had threatened to kill. The parents had called. You make the arrest. You do an analysis of this kid, whether or not he's a danger to others or a danger to himself. You already know he tried to kill himself, so he is a danger to himself. And you take him in, and whatever happens, happens. But at least you've got some record on it. And instead they went, oh, okay, mom and dad won't sign a complaint. Well, of course mom and dad aren't going to sign a complaint. I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation in 1978, and I'm no spring chicken. And I started this when no one was talking about battered women and abused children. And so this was something I fought for the last, 40 years? And you know they're not going to sign the complaint. It's their child. So you go in on behalf of the people of the state of Illinois. Now let's just put that red flag piece alone. His social media is clear. He doesn't get along with anyone. He's a loner, and he's an individual who has talked about shooting. You go into all of his social media, he's got stick figures with blood and everything else. So then you say to yourself, well, Jeanine, is that enough? The stick figures are not enough. It's the First Amendment. It's protected, right? It's free speech. You can't go in and arrest him. But when you put it all together, they could have, when they got the knives, they could have done something. They could have done something with his family. Now we find out he had a dysfunctional family. His parents never picked him up for sports after school. The parents either forgot about him or they had to call the parents and say, your kids are here, come and get them. And they didn't do it. So what we've got now is this, he fits the profile. He's male, he's 18, 19, 22. It's all the same age. He got a gun legally. Okay, he gets the gun legally. So what do we do now? Stop everyone from getting a gun? No, we're not going to stop people from getting a gun because unlike abortion, the gun is explicit in the Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. That means not to have it in the shower. That means to bear it, to carry it out of the house.
Illinois, Judge, Illinois has a red flag law.
That's right.
What is the purpose of having it if you're waiting for somebody else to do something?
I have it right here. They have a red flag law. Okay. And I'm furious about it. And when they, after the fact, they go back and say, well, we didn't have enough. You're damn right. You had more than enough. You're wrong about that. And I don't like it when cops can say, hey, look, you know, maybe you messed up on this thing. You're a human. That's okay. That's enough. But now they want to do this in 50 states. So what is the point of it?
You know, they also have an extensive background check law that other states don't have. If you have laws and you don't use them, and we have laws on the books. I mean, this has been done to death. We have laws on the books. You commit a crime, you get arrested, you may get convicted or not, but somebody has to start the ball rolling here. I mean, it's and there's something else. I want your take on this. It's been 2.5 days since he did the shooting,
right?
And they're still referring to the weapon as an AR-15 type rifle.
Yeah.
Now we know AR-15s have been done to death here. They're killing machines, and we don't have to go
of war, all that.
But why are they saying? Why don't they identify this weapon? I'm just curious.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. He left the weapon behind.
Exactly.
They know it's the weapon.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. You know what's interesting? Now that you bring that up, I say to myself, are they not mentioning the exact type of weapon because it doesn't go with the political narrative that they're going to use now to stop the sale of these guns?
I was going to say that, but since you're the guest, we let you say it.
Well, you know what? We'll like minds think alike.
No, but I mean, I'm the layperson as far as laws go with you two, and I have a carry permit in three states. And I was told about a year and a half ago, Pat and I had this conversation, I shouldn't carry my gun anymore.
Why not?
Because they said if I use it, I'm going to go to jail. If I'm using it to defend myself, but that's what my lawyers told me.
That's what they call it, a carry license, and I suggest that you get new lawyers.
No, but they're saying because of the political situation now, if I were to use that gun, me being who I am, and not call 911, they'd get me prosecuted.
Well, bottom line is, if you're using it to defend yourself or somebody else, you're covered criminally. Civilly, you can sue a ham sandwich. So that's where your problem would lie.
Pat, I kind of understand where they're coming from. You got Johnny from The Godfather, they do the Godfather thug Italian thing. He's Mr. Big Shot with his gun. That's what they would do. And you know what? You get the wrong prosecutor. You get these leftist progressive idiots. And they'll go after anyone. Look what they did to the McCloskeys. The McCloskeys, they were on their house in, where were they? Missouri?
Somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah. And, they broke down the private area to get in. And they said, we're going to live in this house. And we're going to live here. And you get out. And they didn't shoot anything. And yet I think they took away his law license. I mean, forget about the prosecution. They prosecuted him too.
They took away his law license? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I believe. I could be wrong. I will check it out.
That is wild.
Went to it's crazy. What's going on in this country is crazy. And that's why November is so important. It is so important.
Tell me about it.
On the other hand, the Supreme Court just put one in our column as far as the Second Amendment goes, and New York State. When I was on the job, Judge, one of my last assignments, I was head of investigations for the license division. If you know what that is, that's the licensing body for our listeners who don't know what it is, to get pistol licenses. To get a carry license up until last week in New York City was damn near impossible.
Right.
Now, what the court says is they went from a may issue state to a shall issue state, which is what Pennsylvania is, and that's where I am. Everybody here is armed. Whether they know how to use what they're armed with is another story. But now all people, anybody that applies in New York City just has to say, I'm using it for self-defense. Today, I don't know, Judge, if you read today's post, the association that represents hotel owners is pushing for a law, and it's backed by certain legislators that will forbid legitimately legal carry inside of hotels. How can they do that?
Well, we're seeing more and more of that. And, there's this governor in New York who was never elected, who came in because the governor before her was, Andrew Cuomo was corrupt and a sexual harasser. She's never gotten a vote in her life for this position. And she decided that she was going to get a law passed in New York where you can't have it in this building, that building, this store, this area, this. I mean, so what they're doing is they're chipping away at the decision, at the Brune decision by the Supreme Court, and they're basically trying to overrule the Supreme Court. Here's the bottom line on that. They can't do that. It is a violation of your constitutional rights by some schmuck who decided that you shouldn't be able to carry what the United States Supreme Court has said you have not only a constitutional right to carry, but as far as I'm concerned, you have a God-given right to carry that gun. No one in Washington gave you that right. No one in Albany gave you that right. You have it from the Constitution and from God, and you can carry it now that the Supreme Court has said that they didn't say you could have a gun to hang around in the house while you're watching TV. You have the right to carry it. And I'm tired of people like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke, all these people saying, oh, it's not a clear right. It's as clear as the day is long.
And by the way, that proposed law also includes off-duty police officers. They cannot be armed in hotels.
Unbelievable. What hotel? What hotel, Lynn?
All of them. This is an association that represents
the New York Hotel Association.
What'd you say, Johnny?
It's the New York Hotel Association representing all the hotels in New York.
Well, except single motels or things like that, but the large,
the big hotels. I got
it. They all jumped on the bandwagon. They all agree. How do you keep a police officer, no less, from not carrying a gun? First of all, it's unenforceable.
Yeah.
What do you toss people when they go into the hotel? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. I agree with you. And but you know what? This is what the left is going to do to try to stop anyone from exercising their constitutional rights. And that decision was a full-throated defense of the right to bear arms. Clarence Thomas wrote that decision. It was lucid, clear, convincing, not overly legalistic, just said, listen, not only is it in the Constitution, but it is part of the inherent tradition of Americans. The right to bear arms is essential to our history and our heritage. End of the story.
On that note, Judge, Gianni, we're going to have to go to a commercial.
All right, we'll be right back, Judge. Okay. Don't go anywhere. Corleone Vodka on March 9th was picked as the best vodka for martinis in the world by the Robb Report. By calling 518-713-4050 or 518-220-9463, it could be shipped directly to your house. The finest vodka in the world by Robb Report. All right, we're back. We're back. We made a few dollars. That was fast.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going in the opposite direction, obviously, and it not only affects what we were just talking about, but a rule, for lack of a better term, that the Army, not the other branches, came out with a few days ago. You no longer need a high school diploma to enlist in the U.S. Army. This is ridiculous. You're trying to upgrade the service that you're in. This is why they had the rule in the first place. I'm a Vietnam vet. I was in the 1st Infantry Division. I was a machine gunner. I was a high school dropout. And my goal was to spend my life in the Army. I was going to be a career military person. I mean, fast forward now, I've got more degrees than a thermometer. I hold a doctorate. I teach in a university. But back then,
I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, it only took 55 years. But who's hurrying?
Yeah.
But anyway, they turned me away, and I had to go back and finish high school before they would allow me in. Now they're going the opposite direction, and the military people that I speak to, and I have a lot of friends in the Army, they are teaching classes in woke politics.
Yeah.
As part of basic training and ongoing training, because the military never stops training. And you have field training and you have classroom training. And you're learning about how racist white people are. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this, but 1 out of 7 people in the Army, and I can't speak for the other services, actually fight the wars. For every one infantryman, you have 8 people supporting them. And I know this because I was one of those 8. I was one of those.
You were the one.
I was the one.
He was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
That was my experience. And and these are the people who want to be warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And these are also the people who aren't enlisting. So that's why they had to drop the qualification of a high school diploma. Little by little, our system is being eaten away. And it's in increments.
In every area. I don't care
I
what
was
it is.
surprised. I can't tell you how many people I know. I have 2 grown sons, and they have friends that a lot of them enlisted in the military. Some of them were high school dropouts, were chased away. Up until last year. This is going to degrade the quality of who we get in the military, because the Army did it, the rest of them will do it.
All right, so now you can't go into the armed services unless you have a high school diploma.
The Army so far, the U.S. Army so far.
Yeah, well, they're all going to follow.
Yeah, they're all
going to follow. I'm agnostic on this. I don't know of what I speak, but I'll tell you what I do know. What I do know is that when I was a judge and I was sitting on the bench, a lot of times someone would say, a defense attorney would say to me, "Look, Judge, I've got a kid. He's 17 years old. He's on the wrong path.
Right.
If I can get him in the military, will you forego the sentence?" I would say, absolutely. They'll beat the shit out of this kid. Excuse my language. Okay.
We've heard it before.
He'll go to boot camp. He'll get he'll have to walk the straight and narrow. He'll learn life in the military better than he will getting a high school diploma.
Absolutely.
So that's what I know and what I believe. I was willing to forego sentences to get these kids into a routine and defending and learning to respect this country. So I think that's bizarre.
Well, those days are gone, apparently.
Well,
at least until the next administration comes in.
Yeah, who do you think that's going to be?
I don't know.
I'm voting for you.
Why don't you run again?
Not a chance. Let me tell you. I have the scars to prove it. I ran 5 times in New York, and it's a blood sport. It is. I loved it. I loved what I did. I loved being the DA. I loved being a prosecutor. It was about truth and justice and law and order and consequences. And, I fought very hard. I did a lot of stuff. And in the end, you just see that society today is just chipping away at all the successes. And all of a sudden, you've got these woke progressives who say, hey, we got to let everybody out on cashless bail. We got to heal them. We need social justice. We need to have equal justice. That's a bunch of nonsense. You commit a crime, you go to jail. If you smash up a case in a jewelry store or anywhere else, you go to jail. And these Democrats, these progressives, they're like, we don't want guns on the street. We don't want guns on the street. You know what? I would believe you if every time you caught someone with a gun, you kept them in jail. But no, you let him out, he gets another gun, and he kills someone else. So don't tell me you hate guns. You have the people who are using them. You don't even put them in jail. I've had enough of this. And unless we get to the point where we've got people running for office who believe in the America that is about right and wrong and consequences, then we're lost. We're going to be Venezuela. You remember Venezuela?
Yeah.
Sanders, what's his name? Bernie Sanders, 15 years ago, wrote how Venezuela was beautiful. He loved it. He wants America to be Venezuela. Well, it's going to be, because they started eating their zoo animals. Women are giving birth on the side of the road. They have no hospitals. We've got no baby formula. We're going to have a food shortage. People can't afford to drive to work. And now we've got homelessness. You know why we have homelessness now? Because people who had real jobs can't afford to pay the rent or the mortgage. These are formerly full-time working people.
Judge, all of a sudden I'm depressed.
I'm sorry. I'm furious. I am furious.
So
no, I mean, Judge, but like you say, how do we get the right people in? The right people are not even running.
No, they're not. People are not running. But I got to tell you, I don't know where I was. I move around so much. I think it was in Nashville last week. And Herschel Walker's a friend of mine. I love Herschel. He got out on stage. You know what he said? The first thing he said was, everyone who runs for office in the United States should be required to answer one question. Do you love the United States of America? And if you don't, get the hell out.
Good.
You should not be allowed to
good requirement.
represent us if you don't believe in us.
We have a Supreme Court justice who couldn't define what a woman is, and you're expecting somebody to get up in front of a camera and say they love this country? I don't think so. Not going to happen. Not, at least not now.
There's a difference between saying I love the concept of America and what it's supposed to be versus I love America now, because 88% of the people think America's on the wrong track. I get that. I don't like America and where she's going. But my father and my grandfather both fought in World War II. My dad died very young because he was on the first ship to Nagasaki and he saw the plume and he died of head and neck cancer. That's from the plume. All right. And my grandfather died. He was in he was on Normandy. He stormed Normandy. OK, I mean, I believe in America. I believe in this country. I don't believe where she's going now. And I think this Joe Biden is a fool. And I think he came in on a Trojan horse, not just because he was saying he's a moderate and he's really a leftist, but because there are people in that horse that we still don't know of who are running this country. The people in that horse are people like Susan Rice and the whole lot of them who don't care about America. They don't care about people like you and me. All they care about is creating a society where you have an upper class and a lower class. They're crushing the middle class. They're getting rid of the middle class in this country. And that's what we're watching.
Did you see that interview with that old soldier who's 100 years old?
Yeah, crying his eyes out.
Yeah.
He was crying. He said, "This isn't the America that I fought for."
Yep.
And I mean, I've seen a lot in my life, but that brought a tear to my eye. 100 years old, and this is how he's going out.
Yeah.
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 It's,
breaks my heart.
No, it's
You know, I gotta tell you, and I know I'm talking a lot, but you got me fired up here.
Well, that's why you're here.
That's why we wanted you.
I'm easy to fire up.
You want Robert De Niro, that's for sure.
No, Robert. Don't even mention him to me.
No.
Don't even mention that guy to me.
Yes.
I want to punch Donald Trump. I'll go back to wherever.
Yes or no answers, Judge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where was I going? Darn it! You zero, and I lost track of where I was going. Darn it.
Old soldiers, something.
Oh, the movie, Top Gun.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
That movie, I think, in some way, has kind of reawakened a sense of patriotism. Even if you don't believe in all the stuff that we all believe in, you know, you got people to the movies for the first time since COVID who are like, yeah, go, Tom, go. You know, it was the military. That's what we need to do, because all they do is take down people in the military, take down politicians. They all of us are bad. And the only things that succeed on television are things that, you know, one day I want to be a female, one day I want to be a male. I don't know what I am.
Oh, I know. It's terrible.
You know, also, that was a great movie. I agree. But they also told a story, just a story. They didn't try to jam anything down our throats. It was just a good story.
I agree.
And that certainly helped. By
And
the
the
way,
box office, I think, is going to encourage a lot of producers now to go back to that and get away from all this.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have our book has been optioned twice to be a movie. They came to, major guys came to us and they said, well, you have to put a transgender in. You have to put this. I said, wait a minute. This is my life story. They weren't in my life. Should I rewrite my life?
Is that right?
Maybe you want me to talk with a lisp too. I mean, what?
That is amazing.
I pulled it. We pulled it for 2 years.
Yeah, we
pulled it. No, we had a major. Nick Vallelonga, who won the Oscar for Green Book, and major people. They came up with the money, but the union dictated to what we had to put in there, and we both looked at each other and said, "I'm not allowing this to happen. This is my life."
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Did you hear?
It's so crazy.
Did you hear about that fiasco about 2 years ago with Linda Fairstein and the Mystery Writers of America?
No.
You know who Linda Fairstein is?
I love Linda. Yeah, I've known her for years.
Great. Also a very good writer.
Yes.
I've been a full member of the Mystery Writers for years. This was my goal when I started writing. It was like a dream. I write mysteries. I write thrillers. To be invited to be a full member, that was wonderful. I always admired Linda Fasting, not only because of her writing, but what she did. She was a trooper. She was an innovator.
She did sex crimes when I did domestic violence.
First kid on the block in New York City. But anyway, every year the Mystery Writers of America has a banquet in Manhattan, and they give various awards. But there's one award called a Grand Master. And 2 years ago, she was up for it because of her body of work.
Right.
And this is not the Mystery Writers of America is not a political organization. It's a fraternal organization. It's a bunch of writers get together. It's been around for 100 years. There was a grassroots movement from within the Mystery Writers to take that award away from her because of, are you ready for this? The Central Park Five.
I knew you were going to say Central Park.
They took the award away before she got it. 2 days before she was supposed to go on stage to receive that award, they took it away. She wasn't even there. I mean, I don't know if you knew Detective Mike Sheehan.
Sure, I did.
Very good friend of mine. When I was a sergeant, he was my driver. Mike was on that case with Steve Davis, if you know Stevie. Anyway, I was very much involved with that case, and I saw the way it was handled. And if you watch the HBO documentary, if they called it a documentary, that the parents were excluded. The parents were in the room when those kids were interrogated.
Is that
anyway,
right?
I was so incensed that I quit. I wrote him a letter, and I quit the Mystery Writers. And I had to do it, and it was my dream to be in that organization. Broke my heart to do it, and if anybody deserved that award, it was. By the way, I never met her. I don't know her. I never met her. No, I've been retired since '88, so no, I didn't know her. But
she's quite a woman, and she and I were pals for a long time. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm not surprised. And you say to yourself, who are these people?
Exactly.
Who are these people who don't know of what they speak, and yet they want to make the rules? And that's what's going on now. If 88% of the people in America think that this country is headed in the wrong direction, who are the people who are screaming and yelling all the time about, how bad, the Republicans are, how bad the Supreme Court is? Look, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of legal issues in this country. And yet people are worried about, and hateful of everything in this country in terms of what's going on. And you say to yourself, like, who are the big mouths who are doing all the complaining? We're worried about the economy. We're worried about inflation. We're worried about crime. And they're worried about abortion. Abortion hasn't even touched double digits. They're still in single digits. And they're screaming and yelling and attempted assassination on Kavanaugh. And they're marching and banging in front of their houses. And we've got an attorney general who won't even enforce the law, the Title 18, Section 5071, I think it is. It's disgusting. It's frightening.
I have a question relating to the Supreme Court, but before we do that, we have to make some more money.
Okay.
Gianni.
Excuse me? And don't anybody shut this off, because I know where you live. I'll come and get you. We'll be right back. I'm really excited to announce Pala Casino Spa and Resorts in California. The phone number for reservations is 760-510-5100. I'll be there one night, October 1st, a Saturday night. Come and catch the show. It's an evening you can't refuse. And I guarantee you, when you leave, you will be amazed at what you're going to see. Remember, Pala Casino and Spa Resorts, 760-510-5100, October 1st.
My way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gianni Russo.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Patrick Picciarelli here. Before we get to our listeners' emails, a quick word about the new fiction book series I've launched. Private investigator Ray Yale tackles his first two cases in Bloodshot Eyes and The Pop Line. Both books are in paperback and are available on Amazon.com.
We're back.
Okay, Judge, I have a question. I thought that the timing, and this is coming from somebody who's obviously not as proficient in this area as you are. I thought the timing of the Roe versus Wade decision by the Supreme Court, obviously from the conservative end of it, was ill-timed, being that the elections are coming up in November. Do you think that we're going to lose any ground here because of that ruling?
Well, I think that what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of people voting on that issue alone. But I think that if circumstances were different, if things weren't as bad as they are in terms of the economy, if the administration were not lying as much as it's lying by saying, inflation is transitory, and it's Putin's price hike, and now the local mom and pop gas stations, send down those prices and do it today. That nonsense is rubbing Americans the wrong way. So that is going to be the priority in terms of what people are concerned about, because the economy is not getting better in the next 4 months.
Yeah, but
inflation, what?
With you saying that, I think there's enough intelligent people to realize why we don't have gas. Biden took it away. Biden took it away from Trump. It was a spite thing. We had more gas. We could be selling it now and not be in this inflation that we're in. Nobody's pointing that out. Why?
2.5 years ago, we were self-sufficient. Now we are no longer self-sufficient.
Well, but the truth is that, we were independent. Biden campaigned on this, and, he shut down the XL pipeline day one, and he shut everything down. And he said he was going to take us off of fossil fuels. And I'll tell you what's going to help the Republicans this summer is we're going to see these rolling brownouts and blackouts because we don't have the ability, the electric grid to handle all of this, because he's trying now to move toward, this green energy nonsense when there's no transition period that he's giving us. And it's going to affect people and their air conditioning, and their food is going to spoil in their freezer, and not everybody has a generator. It was intentional on the part of Biden. And by the way, it just came out today that, remember, Biden said last week that, he was going to take gas out of the oil out of the strategic petroleum reserve and bring the prices down. We just found out they sent it to China, to Europe, to go to China. Americans hear about that. We're talking about it today on the 5. They hear about that today. They're going to flip their lid. Hello. Okay? This guy is stupid or corrupt. You figure it out.
I think he's both.
I'll go for the latter. The bottom line is, I think people vote with their wallets.
Yeah, they do. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I think it's only going to help us get the Republicans in.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope that everything is on the up and up and they don't come out with, monkeypox. Everybody has to stay home, and let's get those ballots out there. Someone is developing a vaccine for monkeypox. Really?
By the way,
hello.
They're changing the name. They're changing the name because it's an insult to monkeys. Do you believe that?
Yeah, that's right. It's not right. It's just not right.
I mean, I tell you, this is. But you know what? It cracks me up. Like we're sitting here talking about it. The world is talking about it. But how bizarre! They're lining up outside clinics waiting for this. I mean, how do you even show your face? Why don't you have a hood on?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, why do you need this? I don't know.
I mean,
I was in Africa a few years ago. I met a monkey. I don't know.
It's a good thing you're there and we're here.
Yep.
Another question. I'm full of questions.
Okay.
There's a federal law against picketing in front of a Supreme Court justice's house.
Yes, Title 18.
Why are they not enforcing that? And why isn't anybody saying anything about it?
Everybody's saying something, but the Attorney General, you know what they do? They play the word game. He says, we are determined to prevent any violence against Supreme Court justices. Well, how about you arrest the people who are banging drums and whistles and horns and, outside of the Supreme Court justices' houses? He doesn't have an answer. Republicans have said, sent him a letter saying you have to use this statute. It's Title 18, Section 5071, I think, or 5017. It gives them the right. If you were parading in front of a Supreme Court justice's house in order to influence that justice with respect to a decision, then that is a crime for which you can be arrested. The Attorney General showed his hand. he doesn't want to arrest anybody because Joe Biden thinks it's okay. And in the end, why isn't Joe Biden's son being investigated by a special counsel or special prosecutor? You've got Merrick Garland, the same guy who's investigating Hunter Biden. Really? This guy was like a vacuum cleaner going through China, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Ukraine, sucking up money. And, now we have all these unusual dealings with Ukraine and China and Russia. And, nobody's asking about it.
What do you think is going to, what do you think is going to happen to Hunter Biden at the end of all this?
Not a lot. Not a lot. You know what? He borrowed $2 million to repay the taxes that he never paid. Now, I know people who have paid back the money they owed in taxes. They went to jail. I guarantee he won't. It's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And by the way, I got to plug this. Fox Nation, I'm doing another Hunter Biden special. We've got even more information that will blow your mind. Johnny, you think Hollywood was bad? This Hunter Biden was a dirtbag personified.
Wow. And when is that special?
It's coming out next week. I'm going to be on Fox and Friends, I think on Monday morning, talking about it. I'm wrapping it up this week. But yeah, my second Hunter Biden special. I can't stand that people commit these crimes and get away with it. Makes me crazy.
It's crazy. It's so
well, you
crazy.
have about 50,000 people listening to you now.
Okay.
So, I mean, can't hurt, right?
Yeah, and watch the 5. I'm on the 5 in about an hour.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time.
Thank you.
You're an amazing guest. I knew you would be, and thank you so much. I know how busy you are. And Pat,
well, Johnny, thank you. I love you, and it was my pleasure to do it for you guys. And Pat, I'm a fan now. Stay in touch. You need any information. You know Julia, my assistant. So
yes, I've been in touch with her.
Yes.
Yeah, she's the best too. All right, guys. Thank you for what you're doing. God bless you, and God bless America.
God bless
Thank
America,
you.
for real.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thanks.
We knew that would be a great interview.
That was fantastic.
No, but I mean, to me, what a fabulous, knowing her energy, and she delivered today for us. I'll tell you, it's amazing, amazing woman, and I wish she would run for office. We need more of her.
You know what? Don't you think she's had it?
Oh yeah, well she said it.
They
beat her. They beat her.
I didn't know her, so to prepare for this, I was reading her resume. This woman has done everything. I mean, she's been a fighter since she got out of law school. You don't have to agree with her politics. You have to admire her for what she believes in, and she just doesn't give up.
No, that's what's so great.
I'm very impressed.
Should we go to the mailbag or?
We got a lot of mail stuff. Yes.
Oh, great. Oh, perfect.
So I don't even know if we're going to get to it all. But,
let's go to the mailbag.
Mailbag. All right, Mr. Russo. I guess that's you. Okay.
One of 21 of them. I don't know.
First, allow me to introduce myself, and he gives his name, and he's a writer and a lawyer. Being an enormous fan of your work, I would like to connect with you regarding a movie project I'm working on. It's based on the Charles Lucky Luciano story. Mr. Luciano's biography correlates with American social, cultural, and political history. In many ways, in my opinion, he has a great importance to the emancipation of the Italian community in the United States. Also because of his contribution to the war effort and rebuilding of the American and Italian economy after the war. Sadly, most movies dealing with the Italian community in Europe and the United States reflect on a stigmatization of this community and its negative effects. Having Italian roots myself, I feel this aspect is very important in relation to the way we are portrayed in general, so to speak. My primary goal with this particular movie project is to change the perception.
You know, I love his effort and his want to do something. But being as old as I am, I've read 2 or 3 scripts, and the Italians do not support what he did because he was a criminal and he was in the mafia. So the proud Italians who are judges and attorneys, they knock their stuff down. They don't even support it. It's crazy.
You really can't make an admired figure out of somebody like Lucky Luciano. I don't care what he did. You know, no one. I'm agreeing with you. Nothing. Nobody's going to jump on this bandwagon.
No.
Unless he funds it himself, or you write him a check.
Not me. No.
Right.
I fortunately enough, you know, I've been blessed because, you know, I had the freedom of doing what we want, even with our book and where we're going with it. But when you take a specific character like Lucky Luciano and try to glorify him and how he's changed the economy for the Americans and the Italians, nobody sees it.
No.
Because if you don't have any gunfights in that movie, nobody wants to know what a great patriot he was.
No,
unfortunately.
I can see if there's been a revelation that Luciano was an FBI agent all the time.
Well, no, that may work.
Yeah, and you know, he was the guy that tried to bring down the mafia.
No.
Anyway, moving along.
Moving right along.
From Brad, love the show, and I listened to most episodes twice. Hey, you mentioned about one of my favorite places to visit along the coast. I guess that's when you were talking about Italy, maybe? He doesn't specify.
Yeah.
What was that? What was what?
What
anyway,
was what?
I imagine somewhere in Italy along the Mediterranean. I don't remember what.
Was it the Mediterranean? That's Positano and that's Capri. If we're talking about Sicily when we talked about it, it was Lido Beach and Cefalù. They're the two shows the two times we mentioned it, because I specifically know where I go.
Okay, so he could pick one. Right?
Yep, and they're perfect.
Okay. This is an interesting question from Tim. Hi, guys. I listen every week and love your show. I haven't found anything like it. My question has to do with Sam Giancana. Do you know anything about him having a son with Phyllis McGuire? My wife's coworker claimed it was him. In other words, this isn't grammatically correct, and I was a little confused. He's saying that this is the kid who's claiming to be Giancana and Phyllis McGuire's adopted son. Okay, he said he was adopted and years later found out who his parents were and reconnected with his birth mom. A couple of years ago, he moved out to Vegas, and after Phyllis died, he received her fortune. Any truth to this? You guys rock. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. I don't know that, and I don't know, number one, I knew Phyllis really well, and even before she was dating Sam, which to me I thought was an amazing match, not made in heaven, but I spent time with all of them, but I couldn't verify that at all. As far as
you never heard a rumor?
The funniest thing is if you watch her career, who carried the baby for 9 months? She's never had a pot belly.
Yeah, so maybe there's some truth to this, but
who knows?
Anyway, I'm sure she had a couple of bucks when she died, and according to this guy, this kid got it all. Well, maybe there's something to it. Who knows? Anyway, from Steph, Gianni, when are you coming to the UK? We need your show over here.
Tell us to come, man. Go to somebody that you want to support us. We'll be in the UK in 2 seconds, man.
Okay. From Steph again. Pat, have you read the book Luciano's Luck by Jack Higgins? Might be worth a look. Thanks. Now, Jack Higgins, I'm familiar with the author. He writes novels. He writes fiction. So I'm thinking Luciano's Luck is a work of fiction, but I will check it out. Jack Higgins is a good writer. Okay, it's the next one. Here's a question we get all the time, and we're going to have to just refer this guy back to our old episodes. This guy's name is Don. I started listening to your podcast recently, and I'm going through past episodes. This is why he doesn't know the following. I heard you perform with Don Rickles. I love his old video clips on YouTube. Do you have any good stories about him? Well, we've done this to death.
We've done it 2 or 3 times. Look up some of our old shows and...
Well, that's why he's saying, he just started listening to the podcast, catching up. So Don, I suggest, as Johnny says, Johnny speaks about Don
numerous times.
Yeah,
I love the guy.
But you're going to have to go through the episodes to find them. We got 175 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't even tell you that. I know we just talked about him 4 episodes ago, whatever, or up to now. So if that's a clue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he crops up every now and then. Well, here's an interesting one. Good afternoon. I just recently discovered the podcast, and I'm loving it. I have 2 questions. Is there an available CD of Mr. Russo singing "Speak Softly, Love"? I can't find anything.
Yeah, I mean, go on iTunes. Somebody has it. I know that for sure. Look at the album Reflections that I did a while ago. And in fact, I did that with Sinatra's orchestra that he lent me. It should be on that. Speak Softly, Love is on Reflections.
Okay. He said he had 2 questions. That's the only one he put on his email.
Okay.
And that's all we have.
Okay. Well, to everybody out there in Radio Land, we, starting the Wednesday after September, you're going to be able to see us also now. We're going to another platform, expanding this platform. So it's your option just to listen or view these. But
on YouTube.
Let your friends know, and I'll welcome you into my house, and Pat's going to welcome you to his, and you're going to see our environments.
Yeah, that's going to be on YouTube, and we're going to start posting week after Labor Day. And we're preparing for it now. In fact, I even got a haircut. I mean, this is important.
Oh, yeah, we're in dress rehearsal right now.
This is it. This is important stuff.
That's not even rehearsal. This is one of the shows.
Yeah, you know, when to give a little background on it, when we first started out with this project, we were doing this, you know, trial and error. We didn't know what we were doing, and it became successful. But at the beginning, we felt that having 2 venues, meaning audio and video, we'd be in competition with ourselves. But now that we have many, many thousands of listeners, we feel it's to our advantage and your advantage to see our guests. We're getting more guests more frequently. And we thought it was a good idea. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please. Always let us know what you think. Again, we thank you, and be safe out there. Pat, another great show, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, it was. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody.
If you're feeling sad and lonely, there's a service I could render. I'm the one who loves you only. I could be so warm, so tender. Call me. Don't be afraid, you can call me. Maybe it's late, but just
Thank you for tuning in to the Hollywood Godfather podcast. You can contact Gianni Russo, Patrick Picciarelli, or myself, Megan Horan, with your questions and comments through the contact section of our website, HollywoodGodfatherPodcast.com, which is where you can also subscribe to our weekly newsletter. You can also call and leave us a message at 646-776-3038. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Hollywood Godfather and on Facebook, as well as leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd like to know what you'd like about what we're doing, what you'd like to hear in the future, and anything else you might suggest to improve our podcast. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button. We'll be back next week with stories of the mob and Hollywood, as well as answers to your messages. Good night.
Call me. Don't be afraid, you can call me. Maybe it's late, but just call me. Tell me and I'll be around. I'll be around. Give me a call. When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We'd hide from the lights. I did it my